What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. I'm here to break down the Lamar Jackson MVP case because honestly, I think he's very deserving of the MVP, and he would have my vote at this point in the season. There's only a couple games left. They just smacked San Francisco. He looked awesome in that game. So let's talk about Lamar. Who do you have as your MVP? Do you have Lamar as MVP? Where do you rank him in that MVP case? I know there's Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, Dak Prescott, Tua Tagovailoa. There's a lot of reasons that each of those guys can win it, but right now I got Lamar, so let's talk about Lamar. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video, but here we go. So if we look at this season, Lamar's total stats are not like ungodly. They're not like godly numbers. They're not crazy. But where a lot of people will expose themselves is people that are box score watchers and haven't really watched him play this year. Eye test is everything when it comes to this MVP, for Lamar Jackson particularly too, because the dude controls and dominates games. And we can get the elephant out of the room here. We know the Baltimore Ravens defense is awesome. Those dudes are legit. That's cool. We can all agree on that. But we were saying when we were going with Brock Purdy as MVP that the Niners defense was great. And then Lamar Jackson just kind of steamrolled them a little bit. So let's just keep it straight. That Ravens offense is as good as it is because of Lamar Jackson. He is the key. He is the offense. He is the engine that makes this thing go, as are a lot of QBs, but he is literally the offense. Everything that they run because of him. Look, if you look at the total offense in general, right? They're on their RB 3 and 4 right now with Justice Hill and Gus Edwards. They lost J.K. Dobbins. They lost Keaton Mitchell, who really came on. So now you're on your RB 3 and 4. Zay Flowers is a really solid, promising rookie young receiver who's had a good year, but let's not act like he's out there throwing to Justin Jefferson or Tyreek Hill. Rashad Bateman's been okay. Been all right. Makes plays here and there, but he's been okay. Odell Beckham Jr. wasn't really wanted by too many people. And going back to Bateman, they were calling him a bust because of last season with the injury. Mark Andrews, speaking of injuries, has been injured for a large portion of the season. Yes, I think the ankle injury happened maybe 3-4 games ago, but before that he was still banged up, wasn't playing to his potential. So you're on your tight end 2. Your wide receivers are not world breakers. Your O-line is good. I'll give the O-line credit. The O-line is very good. You're on your other running backs, and people are like, well, their run game is so good. That's why they're winning games. The run game is so good is because every defense knows that the most lethal runner on that team is the quarterback. They know they got to worry about Lamar. There's a reason the RPOs are so impossible to stop, and it's because you got to worry about that dude taking off. There's a reason play actions are really hard to guard and why they run so well, even when they're doing draws. Because now you got to think, Lamar could be anywhere with the ball, and you have to be prepared for that because he will take off on you. He'll run for 120 yards on you. He will gash you, and it controls the game. They play at a really slow pace, and they methodically march their way down the field. He doesn't have a lot of turnover-worthy plays, and he dominates the game as it goes. He may not have 320 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. When we look at it at the end of the season, while his numbers aren't godly or otherworldly when you look at passing, but when you add everything together, he's going to be around 4,500 to almost 5,000 yards of total offense. He's going to have probably close to 30 touchdowns when there's a lot of games where you get a lot of Gus Edwards 1-yard plunges. So Lamar could easily have 35, 36 touchdowns. We get a lot of that. But he doesn't have, he's not complaining about his touchdowns. That's another thing. He's a really great leader. I think that team, and I was saying this yesterday to one of my buddies, that team is really an embodiment of Lamar Jackson. They play with that swagger, that confidence, that smash mouth style. And straight up, they've been winning games. And a lot of times you see the MVP goes to the best player on the best team, and they've looked like the best team. People were crowning the Niners as the best team in football until they got smashed. Lamar kind of dominated that game. And I want to talk about the safety real quick because I have to talk about that. They got to figure out that rule. I get that the refs are part of the field, and this is a complete tangent, but Lamar Jackson easily gets out of that safety if the ref doesn't get in his way and almost trip him. So that's a quick tangent. I needed to get that off because watching the game, I was like, what? Because Fred Warner might get to him for a sack, but he's throwing the ball away before then. I just had to get that off my chest real quick. But anyway, yeah, wins are a team stat. And a lot of times we see the MVP goes to the best player on the best team, and that is by far Lamar Jackson on this team. And I feel like I saw a stat, and this is something that I was appalled by because you don't see this stuff happen in the NFL anymore. The Ravens have 7 wins against above 500 teams by 14 or more points. And this isn't games where they're winning 14-0 and the defense is just destroying the other team. They're winning, 30-3, 28-3, 26-6. Like these are, watch, I'll pull it up right now because now we got to go down this list because this is remarkable. Come on, Twitter, where you at? Or X, whatever we call it nowadays. 7 wins by 14 plus points this season against teams with a winning record. Last game against the Niners, 33-19, and really it was a lot worse than that score would show you. Game against the Jags, 23-7. Game against the Bengals, 34-20. Against the Seahawks, 37-3. Against the Lions, 38-6. The Browns, 28-3. The Texans, before C.J. Stroud kind of got it going, 26-10. Dolphins are next. That's who's next up, and I'm going Ravens all the way on that game, and I feel like that the defense will kind of shut down Miami's operation a little bit, but then you're going to see Lamar go crazy on offense. That's something that I'm pretty confident in, and he would have my MVP vote. There's a lot of guys that you can say. I would say second would be Christian McCaffrey. That would be the guy I would have at second. Tyreek Hill, if he didn't get hurt, might have more of a chance in my opinion, but he did miss a game. Ultimately, as a receiver, if your counting stats aren't incredible, you're not going to get it. So I don't think he'll get it, but maybe something crazy happens these next 2 games. He is going to play the Ravens, so we'll see. But Lamar has been otherworldly on tape. And when you watch him, that has probably the best pocket presence in the NFL. He's the most elusive quarterback by a country mile. And the dude wins games. He just wins games, and he just dominates. So anyway, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. In the comments, let me know who your MVP is. Do you have Lamar Jackson? If you don't have him, let me know why. He's my guy. That's who I'm going with. And it's been dope because there were teams that didn't want to trade for him that really need a quarterback right now. And there were people saying they're like, oh, he's not that good. He's not that good. The Ravens haven't won anything. Yeah. Watch and see.